Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I am having such an amazing day today. The weather is a lot cooler in Indianapolis. I feel like fall has officially started. I know it doesn't really start until later in the month, but I feel like fall has officially started. It's cooler outside. I woke up rested today. I feel really, really good. So I am starting today's filming with a Peterisms video. So I thought that I would read some meditations to kind of set my intentions with the universe for the day. So I brought both of the Melody Beatty books with me today. So let's see what the universe has to tell us. Today is September 4th. I haven't looked in here at all, so I have no idea what the two meditations are about. I have The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty, which is my all-time favorite meditation book of life. And then I also have Journey to the Heart. Somebody asked me, I think it was on yesterday's video, somebody asked me if I have the Journey to the Heart, like the affirmation cards. I did, and I might still have them. I think I got them years ago. And then I think I got them as a gift for somebody. It might have even been my mom. I don't know when they came out. But anyway, I can see the box in my head. So I might have like my box and my mom's box in the basement. I have a box of all these like, you know, recovery tools, medication, or meditation books. I have all that kind of stuff in the basement, medication. Well, I guess that meditation books and recovery texts and things like that are kind of you know, emotional and mental medication to some degree. But anyway, I have a big box in the basement of like all of my mom's recovery books and all of her meditation books. And then I have some of mine thrown in there as well, like the ones that I don't regularly use. So thank you whoever said that to me. And they were like, it would be kind of fun to see you respond to those on video. I don't remember them at all. I will tell you this, that years and years and years ago, I had the Melody Beatty visual imagery tapes. I had it on tape. I don't even know when that, it was, I think a while ago, I was talking about it on my vlog, and I looked it up, and I think you can listen to it on YouTube. I'll have to check into that and look out, but it was so helpful. I love visual imagery, if you know what I'm talking about. It's like where somebody reads something in a really soft voice, and it's like, you're floating down. I'm gonna use this example because this is one of the meditations that she did. But anyway, it's like you're floating down a river, and I do not have the voice to do visual imagery, but anyway, so they give you kind of like these prompts, and you just think about it. And two of them that I remember, one was on the first side and the other one was on the second side. The first one was like you're floating down this river of life, and you can touch the, you know, the tall grass on either side of this like small creek, and you can hear the water running in your ears. And I can just remember it like being so relaxing, and it was a lot about like letting go of things in your life, and just like as you're floating down this river, just floating with just the flow of life and letting things go as they come. And that was that meditation. And then I remember on the flip side of the tape, on the other side of the tape, I can see it's a white tape. On the other side of the tape, and this shows how long ago this was. It's probably like my first year sober, so 94, 95 is when, because I got sober in 94. So, this probably would have been 94, 95 that, well, 95 was my first full year sober. So probably would have been 1995 that I got the tape. If it was out then, I have no idea when I got it, but I remember listening to it. But on the flip side was this one, and I can remember listening to it a lot, and it was about like this spiritual energy, like God or your higher power or whatever you believe in. And then there was like this golden orb floating above you, like you're out like in this field. And it was like this golden orb of protection that like melted this liquid. And then the liquid, like you had to imagine this like golden liquid like floating all over your skin and glowing out of your skin. And it was like this golden orb of protection. And then as you move through life, like you're protected by your spiritual higher power, and that like, you know, no negativity would touch you, no toxicity. I can remember listening to that one too. Those are the two that I remember on the tape. But anyway, but thank you for bringing that to my attention, because Melody Beatty has a lot of other tools other than, I mean, she wrote Codependent No More, which is the book that this one comes from, which if you've never read Codependent No More, I would highly, highly recommend. But then she has meditation books. She has other meditation books than this. I think she's got books about gratitude. I think the one is, well, she passed away last year, sadly, but she has one, I think it's called 40 Days and 40 Nights, which is a lot about acceptance and gratitude. I love that one. I think that's by her. But then she does have like the affirmation cards and stuff. So thank you for reminding me of that. Sark is another like self-help writer that I absolutely love. Her books are more intended for women, but I've read a lot of them as well. And so her name is S-A-R-K, and she has journals and workbooks. Melody Beatty has workbooks as well and journals, but Sark has journals and workbooks. Her meditation books I love. My mom loved them too. They are, and she talks a lot about like childhood trauma and how we like grow from that and, you know, apply it to our, like, as we grow older and things like that. But her books are filled with like pictures that she's drawn and poems that she's written. And she references a lot of other books, not just self-help books or motivational books, but she references a lot of like fictional books that have helped her in life and things like that. She always has like a bibliography at the end of her books. And at the each of like, I think the meditation book of hers that I like the most is called Daily Morsels. And at the bottom of it, she'll like, a lot of them are permission slips, like give yourself permission to laugh today. And then at the bottom of it, she'll sometimes like have an asterisk and then it'll be like a movie that made her laugh. She'll be like, and one of my favorite movies that makes me laugh is blah, blah, blah. And then if you're looking for a book or a journal by her, my mom's favorite, I think, was called Living Juicy by Sark. And they're fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I'm going to look for the cards. And if I find the cards, I will let you know. If I don't find them, I will order them. And it will give us something new to do over here. So thank you for whoever commented on that. Okay, let's get into the meditations for today. The language of letting go for September 4th. Let's see what it says. I keep on, every time I open this book, I go right to this dog-eared page for September 30th, which is not a victim. So when we get to September 30th, and you know what will happen is I probably won't film that day. So it'll be the couple days after that we'll probably do that. So, okay, September 4th. Let's go and see. Finding direction. Oh, that might be good. Okay, finding direction. And then let's look in Journey to the Heart. So if you want to know the difference between these two, if you haven't kind of like figured it out by now. So the language of letting go, actually, it talks a lot about Al-Anon, which is a sister program to Alcoholics Anonymous. It talks a lot about steps in here. It's more, I would say, recovery based and more, I would say, like teaching moments and lessons and things like that, where Journey to the Heart is more like stories and lessons that she's learned through things that have happened to her in her life. So, September 4th, in the language of letting go, is Finding Direction. Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty, September 4th. And you know, so every day I read, I don't read these because I save these for the book, or for the channel, but every day I read about 4 or 5 different meditation books. So if you get these, and I kind of float back and forth between the ones that I want to read, I usually read like the little daily affirmation books. But if you have both of these, you can read both of them and get 2 different perspectives, you know, for direction for your life or what you want to hear. September 4th, Stay Connected to Yourself. Well, both of these are rather short, so let's just read both of them today. Okay, September 4th, Finding Direction. And there's a quote from Anonymous. I used to spend so much time reacting and responding to everyone else that my life had no direction. Other people's lives, problems, and wants set the course for my life. Once I realized it was okay for me to think about and identify what I wanted, remarkable things began to take place in my life. Anonymous. We each have a life to live, one that has purpose and meaning. We can help our higher power give direction and purpose to our life by setting goals. We can set goals annually, monthly, or daily in times of crisis. Goals create direction and pace. Goals help us choose a manageable life that is directed in the course we choose for ourselves. We can help give our lives direction by setting goals. Today I will pay attention to setting a course of action for my life rather than letting others control my life and affairs. It's an interesting meditation because I think that I sometimes when I'm reading these, I think about what's the response I'm going to get from other people, you know, out there. And I think like when you read this and somebody says, I used to spend so much time reacting and responding to everyone else that my life had no direction. Other people's lives, problems, and wants set the course for my life. I think that the initial reaction to that is that a lot of people would say, well, I have children, or I have a spouse, or I have parents that I have to take care of, or my job, and that's all true. But outside of that, and even within that, you can have your own direction. those can be parts of your direction to be a better mother or father, to be a better son or daughter, to be a better, parent, to be a better neighbor, to be a better worker, to go in and say, today I'm going to do the best work that I possibly can do. Today I'm going to be more patient with my coworkers or my spouse or my children. Those can all be goals that you can do. Just because you have a lot of obligations and responsibilities doesn't mean, and this was something I had to figure out, it doesn't mean that you just, you're so busy. I think so many of us are so busy in life that we feel like our goals are put on pause. Well, maybe goals like dream goals, like becoming an actor or writing a book or, starting a garden or learning to cook some kind of food or something like that. Maybe those kind of goals. But if you think about goals of, I want to be more patient, or I want to be a better listener, or I want to be more productive today, all of those things you can do in the context of your busy day. If you're at a gas station and you're, waiting in line to, this is something I learned in early recovery. If you're in line and there's, 2 people ahead of you, and you're waiting in line to get your fountain pop, and you're like, come on, what's taking so long, what's coming on? So my sponsor on early sobriety would say, let 2 people go ahead of you, and that will teach you patience, or you can take a deep breath and say, in this moment, I'm being taught patience. If you're in your day and you're in a work meeting and you've got something you need to say, but other people are talking, this is a moment to practice being a better listener. When you're a child or your mother, I can remember days my mom would call me up and tell me about people that I did not know and I did not care about, and she would go on and on and on. And those were moments for me to learn to be a better listener, to listen to my mom about what was important to her. It's not always about what's important to me, And so there's moments throughout our day, and maybe about being more productive, maybe just add one more thing to your list. I used to do, so I'm a big list keeper and I'm a big goal keeper, and maybe making goals. I do it every year. So I do a big goal list every year on my sobriety birthday, usually. Sometimes I go into the new year and I do goals for the new year and things like that. But usually, because my sobriety birthday is on the 17th of December, I usually do it on the 17th of December for the next year of my sobriety, things I want to accomplish. I keep lists every day. I keep a list of, downstairs, I have a list of all of my channels listed, and once I film a video, I cross it off. When it's being uploaded, I check mark it. If I have the thumbnail made, I put a dot next to it. When it's uploaded completely, I check mark it and circle it. I think I used to keep a list, like I'd say, I'm going to clean the house. And then my list of cleaning the house, have you ever done this? Would be like, okay, change the linens in the bedroom, change the pillows in the bedroom, dust the floorboards, do everything in the bedroom, air it out, clean out your closet, clean out the bathroom, mop the bathroom floor, clean the shower, clean everything, right? It's like my list was like something that a team of cleaners, it would take them a week to do, right? But I was going to accomplish it over a weekend. I don't do that anymore. I don't. And so on my daily list of things I have to do, I will just add maybe one more thing that I want to accomplish in there. And sometimes I add kind of fun things, like read an extra chapter in your book tonight. And then I feel even more productive because I'm like, oh, well, I read an extra chapter. I usually only read 2 chapters a night, but tonight I read 3 chapters. And it makes me feel more productive, It's interesting because back in the day when I worked in treatment, I share this story a lot. I would keep a list every single day on a legal notepad. I loved it. And I kept it with a Sharpie pen, and then I would, if I completed something, I would cross it off with a highlighter. I was very organized with my list keeping. And it worked for me. I still kind of do a similar thing today. But I remember at the end of my day, and, I would have my list of 20 things that I had to do for the day. I wouldn't get them all accomplished, obviously. And at the course of a day of 20 things, I might get 9 or 10 of them done. So at the end of my day, the last thing that I would do, because I had one of those big calendars, that I'm talking about the big white paper calendars, the desk calendars. And then I would have my legal pad right in the middle of it when I walked in the morning with my coffee cup, and then I'd go get coffee. So I remember that the last thing I would do before I left for the day was I would make so I would tear the sheet off and I would go through it, and the things that I had not completed, I would add to and I would put the date, tomorrow, Friday, September 5th. And then I would list I would go from my list, and the things I didn't complete that day, I would put over on the next list, and then I would add things that I needed to do that day as well. I don't remember, and that was kind of my way of leaving and just being like, okay, I'm good for the day. And a lot of that stuff I didn't carry out with me. I can remember people talking about, just like, oh my God, I've got all this stuff to do. I didn't ruminate over that kind of stuff. Well, I similarly do the same thing today. Like when my vlog is uploaded and posted, like I've already made a list of the videos that I'm going to make for the next day. Sometimes late at night, I go on my phone and I like have ideas and whatever. But my written paper list, I keep it next to my computer. And these are the things I want to do. These are the appointments I need to make. These are the calls I need to make. These are whatever. I have that on a list. And as I go through the day, I cross it off. I don't use a highlighter anymore. I use a Sharpie marker. But I cross it off. And then the last thing that I do as I close out my computer at the end of the day when I post my vlog is I go through and I make my list for the next day. And it really, really helps me feel productive for that day. Like, okay, I got a lot done. It also makes me feel like now I can like relax and enjoy the rest of my night, because there was a period in my life where I felt guilty for just sitting and watching TV or watching movies because I would feel like I wasn't productive. Actually, I think I'm working through something as I'm having this conversation with you. Does that ever happen? Because I do have this need to be productive in my day. Even in my prayers at night, I'll say, thank you for allowing me to be productive today. I think it also stems from my dad. When I was early, my dad would say, I don't care what you are when you grow up, as long as you contribute something positively to the world. And so that's something I ask myself every day. Is there one thing, was I, did I say something nice to my neighbor? Did I help somebody? Did I do something positive today to contribute positively to the world? I always ask myself that every day. And so I think that end is like, now I can relax, And so I think it's about not beating ourselves up too hard and finding direction in our own life, like the meditation says, is about what are the things that you want. Just because you have a lot going on around you. You got kids in school, you've got parents to take care of, you've got 2 jobs, you've got 1 job, you've got a lot of projects you have to do around the house. Doesn't mean that you can't save 5 or 10 minutes a day for doing something that you love, So I got this Kindle, and I'm reading this Zombie Fallout book. I read very little on it I'll pick it up throughout the day if I'm like uploading a video and I'll read like a paragraph or 2. But I might read 2 or 3 chapters a day. But I still feel like I'm getting through the book. And I really, every time I pick it up, I love it, right? And it's like, there's like 30 books in the series. So my goal is to get through the series. That's my direction, right? But I'm doing it paragraph by paragraph. But I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having a great time doing it. This is not a race. It's not about who gets there quickest. It's about, enjoying the ride as we get there. And I think that's part of it. So anyway, I love that meditation. All right, let's read the one from Journey to the Heart. Oh, this is a long meditation today. This is a long video today. Okay. September 4th, stay connected to yourself. The woman was describing her reaction to an area she had visited, a place poisoned by toxic chemicals, a piece of earth maimed and harmed by humankind. It's not that I didn't feel connected there, she said thoughtfully. I felt connected, but feeling connected meant feeling connected to pain. The woman was describing more than a piece of land. She was describing a place many of us visit at times on our journey. It's interesting where my head goes when I think about when I read these meditations. We feel connected, but we're connected to pain and sadness. We may be reacting to an incident from our past or to something taking place right now. We don't have to run anymore. We don't have to hide. We don't have to leave our bodies or wonder what's wrong. We simply need to feel what's there, even if it hurts for a bit. Sometimes we're healing from toxic beliefs, feelings, and attitudes we've accumulated. Sometimes there's a message, a lesson to learn, an action to take that will follow naturally if we're connected. Open up to your connection. The price of being connected may mean that we occasionally feel pain, but the reward for staying connected will be consciousness, guided action, and an open heart. I like this meditation. I don't know, it's making me think about a lot of different things. The woman was describing more than a piece of land. She was describing a place many of us visit many times on our journey. It's interesting that, she refers to life as a journey. So it's interesting that things that remind me of past pain or past hurts in life that I kind of don't want to revisit sometimes. This is something that my sponsor and I have talked about quite a bit. Do you ever have that feeling where you just want to, like, in the middle of the night, pack a bag, don't tell anybody, and go get on a plane and just fly away? That's not about wanting to go on a trip. That's wanting to escape. I compare this a lot to, like, when people will ask me, like, whenever I do videos about recovery or sobriety and things like that, people always ask me about cravings today. So I've been sober for over 30 years. And the cravings that well, I don't really have cravings today, in all honesty. I don't know the last time that I was like, I need a drink. I want a drink. I did feel like that in early sobriety. I felt like that a lot. Like, I couldn't differentiate the feeling of wanting to escape or get away from a feeling or get away from a thought. I couldn't differentiate that from just wanting to drink or drug. Like, to me, it was just hand to mouth. But today it's different. And my sponsors actually taught me a lot about this in this discussion of wanting to leave in the middle of the night and take a trip, is that if today I'm thinking, and I don't really that often, but let's just thinking, if I'm thinking, I just want to get the hell out of here, or I want to drink, or I want to just be like, whatever. There's something more going on with me, okay? There's some pain going on in my head that I'm wanting to escape from, that I'm wanting to get away from. The only way to really escape from that I have learned is by working through the pain, by naming the pain, by addressing the pain, by working through it, by saying, why is this hurting me? Why is this thing from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, last year, why am I still allowing it to hurt me today? Why am I still holding on to this pain? That's the real question, The question isn't always about escaping. It's about looking at what our connection is to the pain of our past. And the thing I was thinking of when I was reading this was, I can remember, my dad's told me this story so many times. The night that I got sober, when my dad came to get me and take me to treatment, I kept on saying over and over again, I have no memory of this. I kept on saying over and over again to him, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. But what he said to me later was, what was so bizarre about it, Peter, was, I knew you didn't mean your apartment. He goes, it was almost kind of like some ethereal home, like, he goes, he got kind of scared in the moment and thought that I was meaning like going to heaven kind of thing. And he goes, but I also think, he's told me later, that home to me represented a safe place. And I think that's really what it was in retrospect, was that home had always been a place for me, like my memories of home as a little kid. Yes, I've had a lot of toxic experiences, but most of the time growing up, I had little house on the prairie, and, I lived in my bedroom and my stuffed animals, and home was a safe place for me. Home felt like a safe place for me. Many times it wasn't, but more often than not, home felt like a safe place for me. So me saying, I just want to go home, is me saying, I just want to be safe. I think that our connectiveness to places, or often if we say, I just want to go to bed, or I just want to go to my bed, maybe it's not so much about taking a nap or going to sleep for the night. Maybe it's our bed. I can remember I had a friend of mine, one of my supervisors back in the day, said that her bed was her safe place. And that at the end of the day, when the weight of the world was weighing down on her, she could get into bed and then she felt safe there. I think we all have to have safe places in life, not to just sit in for the rest of our life, but to go to have a respite from the day. I think it's figuring out what our connected, like she's talking about in here, what our connection is to memories or things that happen. It's like, have you ever seen somebody in a grocery store or met somebody and you instantly do not like them and you can't really figure it out, but then it kind of occurs to you that they either look or remind you of somebody that you don't like from 20 years ago? Well, that's a painful connection. And there's obviously still pain and resentment and hurt there. That's probably something we need to work on, That's probably something that we maybe need to work on. It's like, I can remember when I did an inventory a couple years ago with my sponsor. And the first part of the inventory is that you work on resentments, your resentments towards people. And I said, I don't really have that many resentments anymore towards people. And so she was like, well, let's just start it. And so I wrote it down, and we started talking about it, and 9 hours later, we had made it through my resentments. It was the first night. We did 2 nights. The first night was 9 hours, all of my resentments. I guess I had a few more resentments than I thought I did. You know what I mean? And it was super healthy. I remember walking out of there the second night and just being like, this weight was off my shoulders. And I just was like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I want to do more and more inventory. Working through the pain feels so good. But first we have to understand the pain. And sometimes the pain is about the connection that we have to the things that happened to us in the past. It's not, this is where when people talk about stuffing things down or overlooking, it doesn't work. Because every day in our lives, whether it's a movie, a TV show, a new friend of ours, a picture that we see, somebody bringing up something, a food that we're eating, we could be, you might be drinking, let's say, a root beer today, and you'll be like, I remember when I drank a root beer with Judy Smith, and then she cheated on me with my husband. You know what I mean? It could be something like that. And you're like, or, I can remember, you're at the swimming pool, and you remember 3rd grade when all these kids were mean to you at the swimming pool or something. Do you know what I'm saying? We have connections in our daily life. Well, if we don't work through that stuff, we're going to continue to carry it out. And usually, we are the ones that pay the most, but the people around us pay as well, because our mood instantly changes in that moment. We become different people because we have connections to the pain of our past. And part of it is working through that pain, acknowledging it, becoming aware of it, and then working through it so that we can live better lives. Because the less pain that we're connected to from our past, the happier we can be and the freer that we can feel. Because we're going to continue to collect pain as we live through life. I mean, it's not like we're going to work through it and then there's going to be no more pain. There's going to be further pain that happens down the road. So we've got all this pain from the past that we're living in, plus pain that's happening to us currently, and then more pain that's going to happen to us down the road. So wouldn't it be better to let go of some of that baggage as we go? I think so. And then we can enjoy life more. Anyway, I love these meditations today. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.